less is more. One thing that you and I were talking a lot about before we started recording these is how we wanted to produce. And what I was talking about was how I was explaining that it was coming from a place of overconsumption. Like I felt like I wasn't really going anywhere by just going from Instagram to YouTube to TikTok, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I don't know, man, in consuming so much, I noticed that like mentally things don't flow as well. You know what I'm saying?
No, I definitely agree on that part. I feel like when you're doing it for too long, then I also noticed like something that I've been noticing recently is that yeah, your flow isn't there mentally. You're not some like sometimes you don't even you're on Instagram and you don't even know what you're on Instagram for. Like I remember yesterday, I wanted to go see an account that I saw like on Snapchat, and then I wanted to see their Instagram because they got married. And so it's funny, I go on Instagram from Snapchat, and it's immediately get distracted. You get distracted by all these stories. You get distracted by the for you page. You get distracted by just the post in general. And like I'm like 3 minutes in on Instagram, and I'm like, wait, hold on. I was here for to look up this Instagram account. So then you go do it, and then you eventually get there, but like your whole brain is just not. It's I mean, social media is definitely designed to just distract you and get you not where you're supposed to. Not get you in line and like disciplined. It's like here's all these other things. Listen to this. Hear this. Stay on our app forever. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah, it's so good at doing that. Cause like if I really wanted to, I could sit on my fucking phone all fucking day, keep scrolling, and I could continuously, just continuously like go through the explore page, see what's there, refresh it, there'd probably be more shit, and then like you can even go down the rabbit hole of like just looking at one person's account.
Didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Going to their account and like you just get like fucking wrapped up. And I don't know about you, bro, but I feel like I'm like in a trance almost. Like whenever I go on a rabbit hole or into a rabbit hole, or if I'm on social media or on a screen for a long time watching a lot of videos, it's like when I get out, I just feel like, especially after laying down, I feel like when I get up, I'm just like, oh fuck, like it's not visually that bad, but it's like my brain is kind of just like I can't even explain like the state that my brain feels like it's in after looking at that much stuff for so long. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, I get you because like you kind of you're stimulated, right? You're stimulated in a way, but when you finally get off that trance, you're just like where the like what the fuck did I just do? Like there was nothing. Like your brain kind of like it really does like turn off for a second. Like there's it's stimulating, but it's not working your brain. It's not challenging you at all. It's just literally just you don't even know what you watch sometimes. You literally like I'm like, what did I just watch? And it's like literally nothing. And sometimes I'm on Instagram. I'm like, why am I on here if I know none of this? I literally saw one where it said like, did you know? And then it was literally like some random ass like a woman loves a man more than a man loves a woman. And I was like, bro, anyone can make this shit up, and it just pisses me off. But here I am giving it attention, and I get more because the algorithm knows that you're watching this. So it's like it'll give you more of those stupid ass videos, and you're usually that's when it leads back, and you do that same cycle of get off Instagram, get back in on Instagram, wonder why you're on Instagram, get off the Instagram, go to Snapchat, and then you complete that like trio, that cycle, and it just continues. And it's like today, literally today, it's been happening where it's like I'm on Instagram for no reason whatsoever. There's literally no reason to be on. I'm like I have things I need to do, but there I am on it.
Before I continue or follow up after what you just said. I want to see more of your body.
More of my body.
More of your body, yeah.
More of
I'm
my
only
body.
seeing 25%, and I want to
You
see
want
like I want to see like 40 right now.
you want to see like 40? Is this like
Yeah.
40?
That's we're at like 30, 35 now.
Okay.
That's solid. That's a solid 40% of Andrew right there, guys.
Like that 40%.
I like that 40%. I like that 40. But yeah, and the thing is that let me guess, the video that you watched, that was a short. The did you know one?
It was a well, like it's technically a short because it has the music in the background, but it's like a picture.
Oh, was that an Instagram post?
Yeah, yeah.
Like where like yeah, because Instagram does that. You
Okay,
can
where you
post a
can put.
post a photo and have the music there.
Oh, okay, yes. And then it was literally just a post, but like it's like saying like it just either it's like common sense or it doesn't make sense.
Right. But it still grasps your attention.
Yes, yes. That's the most annoying part. Is that it's literally nothing. It's not filled with anything. Like I remember my feed used to be filled with like all sorts of like math brain teasers and all that because I'm a bit of a nerd. But now it's like filled with all sorts of random shit.
Yeah. So like what's the point where you're like do you catch yourself now whenever you are on it for a while or do you like get to a point where you're like where you just know you have to get off?
Uh, Both. There's sometimes where I just like catch myself right away. And I'm like, why am I doing this? And then there's other times where it's like that whole let me go find someone account or let me do a task on Instagram, but ends up being just or it's literally a distraction too. Yeah, I just pick it up like every 10 minutes, and I'm like seeing if something new is gonna pop up or anything, and it's literally just the same thing over and over.
Yeah. And then one thing that I was talking about this with my brother, one thing that he does and that I don't do as much because I delete the apps a lot more now, but it's like I was at a point where when I pick up my phone, it's just so automatic for me to like swipe where exactly the social media app is on my phone. And it was funny because like when I deleted it, that's like a little space there. So I do that and I like tap on the space and then it's funny because it was when I did that when I was like, oh shit, like I just did that.
Mm-hmm.
I just I just I just like so automatically and the only reason why I caught onto that was because Instagram didn't open up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, I was definitely the same way.
Yeah,
I,
dude, Instagram.
and you'll do it for like 4 or 5 times to be honest. Like I remember, or at least I do. I remember, and I deleted too, but recently I just for all the things we did. But, I'll do it where I'm like literally 4 or 5 times where I'm like, I'll swipe, figure out there's no app there. Maybe 10 minutes later, do the same thing, and I'm like, there's no app there. And have you ever been that down bad where you start checking your mail?
Dude, bro, I'll go into my fucking calendar and I'm like, what events do I have for the rest of the year?
No,
What day is my birthday falling on in 2035? Just out of curiosity. Or fucking or what else? I'll like, oh, I've never
but
seen these settings before.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh fuck.
Or a big one I used to do. So when I was in Tennessee, I worked in a factory, and I don't know what they did. Somehow they were able to like just take out Wi-Fi of the entire factory. Like I don't
Okay.
know if like that was just because of where it was located, or they did that on purpose to keep employees from being on their phone. There was like very few places in there that had Wi-Fi. So most of the time it's like when I wanted to look at my phone, I couldn't even like look at shit. I wasn't even getting iMessage messages. Um, that I couldn't like go on like YouTube real quick. I couldn't like go on Instagram, all the apps. So wait, is that what happened? Okay, I think I'm gonna have to go back on myself because I think what I did was okay. What the fuck? I'm remembering shit differently now. Actually, what I think I did is I took an Instagram break. But wasn't there parts of it that I don't know? I'm tripping right now. But anyways, point was is that I wasn't looking at that shit, and I got to a point where when I go to the bathroom, I wouldn't look at anything, or I wouldn't have anything to look at. So what I would do is I would just go to my camera roll and just like rewatch like old videos and shit.
Yeah, I've been there with the camera roll. I've
Oh
been there.
fuck!
Oh
Sorry,
shit.
fucking just got flashbanged right now.
God damn. It's a
Sorry,
lot
what were you
too long.
saying?
No, I was gonna say that. No, I've been down bad like that. The camera roll is usually like I don't take a lot of pictures or videos, so like I'll literally go through it and like I'll be done in like 30 minutes, and I'm like, oh wow. But I do find some things where I'm like, wow, I found this photo. That's cool. I forgot about this photo. You know what I mean? But it definitely does suck because like it's so bad that you're so addicted to this phone that you literally like will rather do that than just like sit outside and like look outside and look out the window or look anywhere. You rather fucking you rather go to your mail or you rather go to your weather app and see if it's gonna rain on on a Tuesday morning rather than maybe talk to someone or explore around. But messed up, man. And I think they're getting better at it. And I think they're gonna get better and better at it.
With the algorithm?
Yeah. But I also seen people wake up. I think people are waking up as well, and are deciding that like consuming is like not the way to live. I think that's what's been happening.
Yeah, I feel like with everything, like there's always a point to where everyone comes back down. It's like um it's like the economy.
Yeah.
Like the economy can get really, 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 really good. Or like an empire, like the Roman Empire. It's the most powerful thing in the entire world for all this
Right.
time. But at some point, like what goes up must come down. You know what I'm saying? And like I feel like, and I've looked at this with dating as well, because there's this. Will you ever like watch like dating videos about how women talk about men and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So like I've seen stuff where like women will say that, oh, men don't ever approach anymore, So and it's because like and it comes from, or actually I've seen a podcast where like both sides talk. It's like this guy will be asking a girl why aren't or why are women why is the dating world the way that it is? And women will say men aren't approaching, and then men will say they're scared to approach because women like they feel like they're gonna like think they're creepy because of like because they think that they're gonna I don't know, there's a negative consequence. It's more like you're more likely to get a negative consequence than a positive consequence of like going up to a girl now more than ever because of the way that women perceive men. So I've talked about this with another friend before that what I think is going to happen is that like more and more men aren't going to want to talk to women. So like we're going to an extreme where like men are approaching at an all-time low, right? And then with AI coming, they're gonna have a robot you can talk to who like who they may even be able to have like robot sex dolls and who'll be able to talk to you the way you want them to talk to the way they want them to talk to you. Um, they're beautiful and like they'll do what you say. Of course, this is like way down the line, but the thing is that like there's no consequence in that. So what I think is gonna happen, this is my theory. What I think is gonna happen is that there are gonna be so few men that are gonna be approaching women are gonna like catch up and be like, oh shit, like we have to make ourselves more available. Like we have to, give more like choosing signals, like you go out to the bars and like a girl like you can tell if a girl likes you if she like just like is staring you down. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like girls over time will like, okay, if I really want a guy to like me, I gotta like put in a little bit more work. You know, I give him more to work with. So, or I would say be more approachable.
Okay.
Cause like I don't know, I feel like the way that I feel about it, I feel like so many girls. I hear this all the time how girls will say that men ain't shit and that men, it's like I definitely feel like a different energy from girls. Not all girls, but like a number of girls. I'll just get like this like fuck offish energy.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know. I feel like it's happening more. It's been happening more the past few years than before, and I think that could be due to like social media, like the what's it called, like the stigmas and there's a lot of things that I can say as to why it is the way that it is, but that's my thoughts on that. I don't know. What do you think? How do you think dating is nowadays?
Um, so I feel like, yeah, the whole approachable thing is is true. I feel like there is some people that are waking up that I've seen that they're like, and maybe it's also because we're getting older. Maybe like we're stuck in like our generation, so the way we're seeing it is this is probably what every generation kind of went through, and then eventually
Mm,
when we're age, we're we're wiser and older, so we don't like or we don't mind, when people or when a girl won't mind if a person approaches. Like maybe that we're a lot more accepting, a lot more open now that we're like slightly older and maybe um, everyone is a little more mature. Because that's what I've noticed is like because it's either that or people are waking up and it's like people are kind of done with the dating apps or done with the um, just like social media type approaches and stuff like that. Because I personally, if it could be done in person, that would be way better than using any app, regardless. And like I feel like I think that's how most people feel. You know what I mean? Unless because in the dating app, it's just like it doesn't just does like for a guy it doesn't feel fulfilling enough, or things don't go since it's a numbers game. Things don't go really well because it's just like, well, there's always another swipe. There's always another swipe, and I think humans are very hard at choices and selecting choices because the more choices we have, like I don't know how many times you've been on Netflix or Hulu or whatever, and you're literally like just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling to find that perfect movie. And you can see the analogy here, but find that perfect thing. And I think if it's crazy to say it, but the less choices we have, it's probably will be better for us in the future if we just choose this. I mean, I don't know if you remember watching cable on Saturday, and the only thing on was for me it was SpongeBob, and like I loved it. I was in there. I was in the zone. So
dude, when I was a kid, like they would have commercials for a new SpongeBob episode coming up, and they show like little like clips of it, and like you'd be like, and it would look dope sometimes. You're like, oh, I can't wait to watch it, and then like I remember for me, it's like I would like be ready like the whole day, spending the whole day thinking about it, and then finally it would come on, and there was just a vibe to that, to like the anticipation instead of it just like being right there, always available. So I totally get that. And when you brought up the Netflix thing, immediately I was like, you know what, that's so true because I always like there's so much stuff on there, and it's like I'm just thinking like which one do I watch? Like I want to watch that one, but I want to watch that one, and I want to watch that one, and I want to watch that one. Um, and it's like even in watching one of them, it's like I feel like it's super easy to be disinterested in that one if it's not going as good. It's like you can be like 10 minutes in, and you go, oh, I'm gonna go try this one out, and that can manifest in dating
yep,
in that way too, man.
yeah, no, it's like probably the perfect analogy for it because like you just said right now, like there is sometimes where because you can even get halfway in, and you're like, eh. I've seen it before with people like they'll get halfway in and be like, "Are we liking this?" And it's like, "Bro, we're already halfway there. Let's just finish it at this point, you know." And uh, I think that's why it's just like it's actually like a thing in the restaurant business where you have to keep your menu short because if it's too big, people will like take longer to choose something or they'll feel less happy in their choice that they pick. So to make you more happy when you're eating something, they put smaller menus.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that, but that makes so much sense now that you say that.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
shit.
we suck at choices. I mean, and we've all been there where you fucking you there's too many things to decide and you just like someone choose for me at some points. Someone please.
Yeah. Why do we have such a hard time with choices? Why do we become so dissatisfied with our choice? Like what if let's like run this experiment, right? What
Yeah.
if like there's two restaurants, right? They both serve the exact same thing, but one just has an extended menu. So imagine like the first restaurant is the cut menu and someone gets something there and they love it, right? They love what they order. They get, let's say they get the lasagna and they go home and they're satisfied, right? So now what if like they go to a different restaurant and this and imagine like they just change the name of it's the same menu, they just change the name of exactly what it is. So like this guy he likes lasagna. So he goes, he's like he finds the lasagna and it's the exact same lasagna as before. But this menu just has like more options on it. Like do you think that that person would likely be more dissatisfied just because there were more options, even though it's the exact same lasagna?
I think so. I actually think so. I think it's like and it sucks because like everyone thinks this way, but you're like in the back of your mind, you're like, what if I chose this option? Or and then so you kind of branch out. Like I'm trying to think of like personally experiencing it right now. If I like with anything, like I always branch out. It's like okay, what if this movie was better? What if that movie was better? So I think it's always turned into the what if versus being present. And I guess that goes back to a lot of what we talk about is that just being present and actually accepting whatever it is that you're in is probably better for you, but you know in the back of your mind, like you're like, I could choose this, I could choose that. So I think for the restaurant, the bigger menu, it does make it more dissatisfied. And I think personally that's why.
Maybe that's why In and Out is so successful.
Oh,
Their
yeah.
lines are always fucking packed as shit.
Or Chick-fil-A, there's like also like six things on the menu. Or
Yeah, there's not a lot of variety on there.
just chicken or chicken. Do you want chicken or you want fucking grilled chicken?
I want the grilled chicken, but can I get that with bread? Sure, but
Okay, do you
that's it.
want lettuce? You want some lettuce on that bread? Sure. Okay, that's too many choices. You gotta stop right there. Pickles? Don't ask me. Don't ask me about pickles.
We'll give you a pickle, but you only get two.
You want ranch with that?
You get a two pickle maximum.
Okay, my pleasure. Fuck.
Bro, bro, you
But
should apply to Chick-fil-A.
I've been I've been thinking about it. Just kidding.
I can see
I don't.
I can
You
see you
can see
fucking
me
up a drive-through.
really.
Yeah, fucking it up outside with the fucking iPad and shit.
But they go hard, low key. They're like they're quick with it. Like, have you noticed how? And that's we could even talk about drive-throughs as well. That's another quick, easy, fast, simple.
Another form of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. But I think I'm trying to think of like a fast food restaurant that doesn't like has a lot on the menu. Like Taco Bell does have a lot on the menu though. and I could fuck some shit up at Taco Bell.
Taco Bell does. I feel like McDonald's keeps it pretty short.
But yeah, are you the type of guy that goes when you order something or go to a restaurant? Do you order the exact same thing, or do you kind of switch it up every once in a while?
I used to order the exact same thing all the time, but now I'm starting to branch out a little more. I used to be very picky, very,
Okay.
very fucking picky growing up. Like I would only eat, I would eat the absolute bare minimum. So if I found something that I liked, I was like never comfortable with like going outside of that. What about you?
Also, yeah, I mean, for any restaurant that I'm at, I'm like, there'll be sometimes I'll branch out, but like, I know what I'm gonna get, and like that's what I came here for. So it's like, and maybe it comes down to not making another choice.
And again, this is full circle as to like it's so funny. Like this is the core of this conversation so far has been what we started off with, which is less is more. Like 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 it's
Yeah.
just less is just better, but like we think we want more until we get more. You know, it's like
Hmm.
why can't we be why couldn't we just be satisfied with like the portion sizes that we had or how many partners we have? You know, it's like, and I think I can totally see like this incessant need for more. It's just gonna manifest more and more in so many different ways. Like think about marriage. It's like what you have isn't enough. It's a dissatisfaction with what you have. And I feel like it's only, especially with social media, it's only gonna get worse.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that I think why everything is so addictive now. And there might be a reason. This I'm thinking it through. I'm thinking it through here, but is that okay? So we click the movie on Netflix and we don't like it. We wasted 30 minutes of our life. You go on TikTok. You don't like the TikTok. You wasted 5 seconds of your life. You wasted 10 seconds of your life. I don't mind. 30 seconds of your life. 40 seconds of your life. I don't mind. It's only 1 minute. You know what I mean? And then but then you're there and you're scrolling 8 hours. You wasted more time on there. You could have watched 4 movies by the time you did that. So I'm thinking that's why it's so addictive. Is that you since we have so many choices now, making it the quickest form ever makes us feel like we're not losing anything for watching that video.
We don't like it's like the cost of it isn't as high moment
Yes,
to moment.
yes. But I think it causes a huge dissatisfaction in the long run.
So what do you think the answer is? Moderation?
Moderation, yeah. I think being bored more definitely what's been helping me. Just and like it's hard, you know. Sometimes you just when you feel bored, what do? You reach for your phone.
Yeah, I think you brought that up the very first podcast that we had. So what do you do to like let yourself be bored?
So for the most part, like I feel like clean gets my head in the right spot. So once I clean, I feel good. But to get bored, um, I usually try not to like, or I guess being present is a big thing. But being bored, it would be more like if I just sat here and looked out this window, you know what I mean, and just let my mind wander. Um, I I think that's when it became bad for me is that in the shower, that's usually when I have the most creative thoughts, the most like anything just comes to me and I'm because I'm being bored, right? There's just water coming onto me. I'm just standing. There's just a white background with the uh, whatever it is to close yourself in the shower, and you're just there, and you just like for me that's when everything just starts circling, and I start thinking about things. But that's when I noticed it was bad for me is that I would take my phone into the shower and like I'd place it on the top just so I can watch a video while I'm showering.
Uh, so that can also go into how, like you said, you were even when you were working, like you wanted like that audio stimulation as well.
Yep.
And like it's so funny how like that just manifests in different ways. It's like this whole how you do one thing is how you do all things. I've heard that and like that makes so much sense. And it's like the mind is such an interesting thing and like and the patterns that and how they manifest in different ways. Like I bet you that if you were to look into your life deeply, like in that sense, like okay, in what ways do I am I constantly like having this second form of stimulation? It's probably all over the place. Like imagine like during that time period, what were you doing when you were cooking? Were you like watching a video or were you
Yeah.
watching a
Yeah.
video?
Yeah. There's usually a video being watched. Sometimes I do get into cooking just naturally, but yeah, video being watched, something audio.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been working more on that too, on like when I'm cooking, just cook, or when I'm cleaning, just clean. Um, and you know what? I think another thing too. I think it definitely helps out with my conversations because it comes down to like focus. It's like it's like I'm not. It's like if I'm focused on cooking and watching this video at the same time, and I make that a habit in my mind, then like I'm gonna that's gonna manifest in my conversations. It's like I'm talking to you, but I'm also thinking about something else at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yes. Yes. No, that totally makes sense because I think for the past year, and I think ever since maybe 3 or 4 months ago, but for the past year, I've been feeling like not forced in a conversation, but just not there. And recently, I've been wow, like it's been a complete 180. But at the same time, like there would be times where I'm like talking to someone, and I just want to blurt out what I want to talk about. And it's not even like I'm listening to them. It's just like let me blurt out what I'm trying to say and not listen to you at all because you're taking too long. Is what it felt sometimes, and that that makes sense. Or like I was just not focused in the conversation and just saying like whatever. Like it did make sense, right, in to the other person, but it wasn't a cohesive idea or a thought that came from Andrew. You know what I mean?
It wasn't.
It wasn't. It was
So
like what I listened to. Let me blurt it out.
so where did it come from then?
Like maybe from videos I was watching at that time, or people what other people say, but it wasn't like no critical thinking was involved in any of those conversations.
Oh, okay, so like were you saying that because you weren't present, like as in like you didn't know what to say? Besides just that, it's like, oh, I have like this is what's on my mind. This is all that's on my mind. It's like I'm gonna use this.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Like I had other things on my mind, and then, well, let me just blurt this out. Let me see if this works versus like actually being in a conversation.
Right. Yeah, that's I don't I have done that so many times and it's so funny. As soon as you had mentioned um something about like they're talking too long. So what that is like a lack of patience, which I think is and this goes back into social media and consumption of all these things like we're so used to feeling that like stimulating feeling over and over and over again. That's why like short form content is so popular. And I've noticed this within myself is that like sometimes like when I see a podcast that's like 3 hours, I'm like, fuck, that's a long ass fucking podcast. And and damn that like that manifests like that lack of patience manifests in watching movies. It's like you don't have the patience to wait to see what could happen. Like how many times has like there been have you watched a movie like it's entertaining, but like at the end it like fucking just smacks you,
Oh yeah,
you
yeah. That
know, but
plot.
like you have the patience for it.
Yes, and at the same time, and I think this is what we're not getting right now in our generation is that if you wait for it, it feels so much like that plot twist at the end of that movie. You're like, oh, what the fuck? I didn't know that was. But like, if you watch like a 1 minute video of like a plot twist, it just didn't build. You know what I mean? There was no that tension that it like goes up and up and up, and you slowly feel it more and more and more, and then you want to release it. It's just like, here you go. And I feel like again that can even go to dating. That can go to
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you know where I'm going, but essentially that tension, like waiting, being patient, letting it just flow, let it just be, let it be. The Beatles.
Is that a song by them?
Yeah, let it be.
Um, yeah, and that could explain maybe I bet you if you were to like look at the country as a whole, I bet you like because in one of our videos I had stated how like consciousness we're all connected, we're all like on kind of on the same wavelength. I wonder if like people overall they get into bed faster because they're less patient, you know? Like I and maybe this is why relationships are so dissatisfying to people because hmm, are you catching on to what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, yeah. It's
I'm
like
trying. Sorry, go ahead.
we're being impatient and well, and then again that plus the choices. I think you know a two for one deal right there. It's like not only are we're impatient, we want to get to the end, which there is no end if you really think about it. And then two, it's because we have so many choices that if we pick, congratulations, but if we pick two, or if we decide that this is not enough, we can just move on. And now with the click of a button, you can move on with the swipe, with the for anything. So I think that's another thing. Like back then you would have to. There was so much involved for you to leave somebody, or so much involved to have another choice. You still have to go through the whole process. Someone has to like you. You have to like them. You have to date. And maybe that's why it was considered so sacred. You know what I mean? Like because sometimes I think about that. It's like why did we make such a big deal out of marriage? Or I mean, it's obviously for the kids as well, but I think or like why do we make sex such a big deal in terms of like waiting? And I feel like because like I mean, you probably been there where you do hook up with someone and it just that was all right, but like
Yeah.
yeah,
So what were we gonna say?
no hit it, go for it.
Oh no, I was gonna say like yeah, I have, and like I've after like a lot of self-reflection, and I think I may have spoken about this. I don't know if it was with you just on a phone call or like on a podcast yet, but like I felt like I have to wait. Like internally, I know like I have to like slow things down for me to like how you said like get to that end point, you know, and it's like in getting to that end point so fast, it's like I'm wondering if in getting to that so quickly, hmm. So now I'm having other thoughts. It's like it's like the analogy that I made about a Lamborghini. Like a Lamborghini is super valuable because we have to work really hard to get it. Um, even though like I don't, material I'm not into materialistic things, but just like the concept behind that, or like a mansion, or it's or that one girl that like doesn't give it to anyone. Like she's 25 and she's only been with one guy. Like to me, that's a fucking like that's a diamond right there. And it's like, oh, like that's something that I have to work for. And she's not just gonna give it to me. I gotta put the work in for it. And that again, like anything that comes easy isn't good. But anything good doesn't come easy. So
Yes.
so yeah, it's like I think it should. I don't think wait until marriage is a long time. And I think that I mean you got to know if like you have sexual chemistry with someone because I do think that sex is very important in a relationship. And I always thought like if you wait till marriage, what if the guy has like a 1 inch dick?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, if the love is really there, will that matter?
And that's the tough part because I know someone that might happen to them. I would love to ask them, but I mean, that's a tough one because it's because like you said, I think previous podcast as well, is that there's a lot of energy transferred throughout sex, and it's a lot of, um, I mean, like that. Yeah, I think you need that chemistry in order to, I don't know, function. I guess sometimes, like in terms of like with your partner, in order to like release something that you guys both need. Because I mean, if you didn't do that, right, that's just considered a friend, right? Or is that like if you're really good with someone spiritually, emotionally, but the sexual part is not there, and maybe, but then I think sexual has a little bit of spiritual in it. So
I would agree because in sex you create like you have the power to literally create another human being.
yes,
I don't know, man. Like what's coming to me right now is like it depends. Like what works for one person's relationship could, you know, may not work for somebody else.
right.
Imagine like being in like your 80s. Like I don't think grandma and grandpa are
Yeah,
getting it on every single night before bed, you know?
yeah, definitely not. I don't think they can at this point.
But they're together and like I like to believe that if a love is so strong that it could go on forever. Because that
Really,
does happen, but at the same time, I don't know, man. My thoughts on marriage are like all over the place.
I agree.
Like I like to believe that it works, but then I wonder like, have I been conditioned into thinking that that's the way to do things? Because a part of me has felt like because being with one person the rest of your life, that it's it sounds fucked up to say, but it's like, like what happens when you get bored? It's like eating at the same restaurant every single day. Like it's good for a while, but eventually, you know that the flavor doesn't hit as hard as the first time, We were talking about novelty before, and I for a while I thought that like the recipe for a good relationship was you're my number one. This is my personal preference. I've thought like if I get married, cheating isn't okay. And when I say cheating, I mean I go behind this person's back, don't tell them what I'm doing, and I go do this anyways because that fucks with trust.
Right.
Right. But I feel like if like there were to be a mutual agreement between the two for their relationship. Hey, I'm kind of honestly just being transparent and honest as hard of a conversation as it is to have.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, like I love you so much, but I'm craving this over here. But I don't want to lose you. Like I love you. And what what if so like let's just say the other party is like, you know what? I've been feeling the same. Because our eyes, even though we're in a relationship, we're gonna see people and we're gonna be like, dang, they look pretty good. But the same, damn it, I'm like going
Yes.
back and forth all the time, bro.
Well, that's why I like where you're going with this because it's something that I feel like most people don't talk about unless you're like in a private situation, like us, like as friends or close people you're around, and it's not something that it just brought up like that. It's like no, it never brought up. I feel like so. I feel when it comes to that because I've done the same thought that you're going through right now, the same like, and then it goes through here and it goes through there, but it's like imagine your girl telling you like I love you, but like I'm gonna go over here to um, another guy's place real quick, and maybe you can handle it, like right, it's like okay, maybe it's good, and then but then what if they start low key? They're like, I'm gonna go again, and I'm gonna go again and again and
Oh,
again and again.
dude, fuck no, fuck no.
Right,
Right now, I do
right,
not like just even the thought of that. Like, my whole thing was like, all right, let's get it out of our system. But then, but thinking about it, God, it's because like there's so many like parts and pieces that can be moved. Like, you can get it out of your system, but that doesn't mean that you like. It's like you open up the door.
mm-hmm.
It's like, or it's like breaking your diet. It's like you have a really good diet and then you have a cheesecake. But then like after having that cheesecake, you're like, damn, I want another cheesecake. Really, like I want that cheesecake really bad. But like you remain disciplined and you don't go back to the cheesecake, but you can't take away from the fact that you're craving that cheesecake still. And
Yes,
it's like, gosh, and there's so many things I could talk about with this, bro. So many things. Cause like,
yeah,
that we can even break it down to the whole of like how it affects a man could be completely different to how it affects a woman because we can argue that women are much more it's much more emotional for them. It's more like I'm starting to feel a little bit different now because I don't want to just jump into bed with every single girl, but I feel like with
right,
women it's like it's a more vulnerable state for them than it is for a man. So it's like not only the effect of it, but like the effect of thinking about it with your partner. It's like the woman knowing that even though she had sex with another guy, the woman knowing that, oh, my husband has sex with another woman, but then there's the man like, oh, my woman has sex with another man. Like, who does that affect? Who does that affect more?
right,
You know?
right.
But then
Yeah,
again, it goes into the whole like we're all different. Like, is it possible? Is it possible where that could happen where they both do it and it's like, hey, that was good. Let's move on. And then what if? I'll even go this far. What if them doing that strengthens their relationship?
hmm. Why do you think it was strengthened it?
Because it's like it's what if it's what if it's an illusion? What if it's like, okay, right now this patch of grass being our sexual relationship, I don't think it's very green over here. This patch of grass seems green, seems like it's a little greener right now. I want to go step in that patch. And you step in that patch, but what's the saying? Is that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So it's like they do that and like, oh my God, you know what? I didn't realize how like amazing this grass is. And then
Yeah,
like and perhaps like in having sex with that person, they're like, oh my God, like even though there was a mutual agreement between the two, it just what if it just feels wrong to them? And they're
right.
like, oh, like I never want to do that ever again. Because like this is my person.
Okay.
And then that's like the perfect recipe where like they do that and then they both realize that they didn't want that bad and they come back and then and then because of that experience, it's like, oh my God, I didn't realize how amazing the other person was. When they come back, they're like, they just they fucking like, it's weird, man. It's like hate sex, or I hate you sex.
Yeah, it goes way harder than anything
Yeah,
else.
but it's after like a change of things.
Well,
There's a
okay,
change.
okay, okay. So I have 2 points to that. Is that okay? Yeah, you said in a perfect scenario that would be um, what happens, right? Where you guys both boom, 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 hate sex. So let me hit that one. Let me hit what was I gonna say? Is that usually, and this goes back, and we can even circle it back to boredom and social media and all that. Is that when you take away the stimulation, you take away the person, you take away whatever you're addicted to in a way, you crave it even more. And so, like, the more time of separation you have without it, the better it is, right? So, I think that's why hate sex is very nice, or like makeup sex, or even, yeah, because even just a makeup sex, when you guys are mad at each other, you're like opposite emotions of what you guys feel usually to each other. And then when you go to the hate sex, like, you can finally flip it back on, and you're like, oh shit, I totally forgot how great this feels, and you do it, whatever. But so that's where I'm like, I can see that. I can see where, because I've had it happen before. Because you just, even with just being mad at each other, um, even be just mad at each other, it's like when you have that sex, it's like even better in a way. So I think humans are very like, we need a balance. Like, here we go again to even another callback, is that we need a balance no matter what for everything that we do, and I think that's where that comes in. And the second point I was gonna make is that, but it's like, what if you decide the grass is not greener on the other side, and she just got that cheesecake, and and you're there, you're sitting there, and you're like, I don't want this. The grass is not good on that side. Let me go back. And she's like, no, like, I actually like the grass on the other side. And she's like, well, let's just break up then. And you're like, fuck. So now I just made it even worse that we showed each other what is out there. So that's where I think when it comes down to marriage, I think everyone thought that thought, and they're like, this won't work. I don't know.
You run the risk. There's a
You run the
risk.
risk.
There's a risk to be ran because you're dealing with emotions at this point. You're dealing with like,
And I feel like it's probably the highest of emotions when it deals with like breakups and losing a person.
yeah, it's funny, we're talking a lot about moderation right now. Um, it's like the more that we talk about it, the more that I in myself think like that's the answer. It's like,
Moderate.
yeah, it's like if you see your friends every single day, it's like you guys can have fun, but like sometimes, you want that space. And I was thinking about it, how you were talking about in relationships. I feel like it's good even in the relationship to miss each other. Like I think it's important that each partner has their own lives. I think even that could be a cure to wanting other people. It's like just because we're together doesn't mean that like it's like keep the mystery alive. Keep the make your wife guess a little bit, or have I kind of I kind of like it when like I don't know, if I spend too much time with someone, with the girl, it's like there's no tension to be built because it's always there all the time. And separation, I think separation in moderation is definitely helpful, you know. Um, but yeah, again, going back to our first point, less is more. You know, like making not constant, because we could even argue that hanging out with your partner all the time is a form of stimulation. And you know, you're constantly being stimulated by them, by this thing, and I feel like just over time that can just you, like we're as human beings we get used to things. Um, but a way to pivot into something else that I think we could definitely get into is when I locked myself into my apartment, didn't do shit for like a whole month and a half to help recover my brain from an injury, because I thought I was gonna die. And I was doing everything that I could to just recover, and the orders that I was given that I felt like I had to do was literally do as little as possible. Do absolutely nothing. And I took that advice literally. So literally. And in doing so, everything that I was doing felt so much more rich.
Mm.
And life felt like more rich because I felt like I was potentially being met with the possibility of death. And it's like when you have it's like when you have something taken. It's that you don't realize what you have until it's gone. Like imagine the internet got wiped out today. No more internet ever again. No more TikTok. No more Instagram ever again. Like the internet has become something that we've taken for granted. You know, the DoorDash, take it for granted. Like people, like it's like the more that we have, the less that we see our blessings. And I noticed that in sitting in my place all day, it's like the smallest things where it just became so much more valuable to me. Having good conversations, having you know, friendship, and just being outside with the basketball in my hands, just something that I was doing all the time that you know I didn't really find the fruit in, became so much more valuable because I didn't have it. You know, and life seems, it's like when people, I've heard this all the time, that when people know they're gonna die, they become so much happier because they realize, oh my God, this is the little I have left. Like I'm gonna cherish every single bit of it. And that's why I think death is a amazing teacher, because it'll teach you, I think, everything you need to know. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's like you brought that up as well because I know that I have a similar story or similar experience, but not as drastic as a concussion. But it did teach me about death, which taught me about life. So
Tell us about it.
my story was is that I had an endoscopy basically, and you got to get put under for it. And it's crazy to me is that, well, first of all, they said if I have this certain disease that is known to be what the symptoms I was having, that I would only have. Well, it says on the internet, and WebMD be telling you you're gonna die tomorrow, but
Yeah.
essentially, um, it was like you. I literally looked it up, and like immediately it was like you can have life expectancy 22 years after finding out this diagnosis. So that was the first thing that happened to me. The second thing that was happening is I was getting put under. I've never been put under before, and when I realized that I was, and the nurse that was taking care of me, putting in the anesthesia and all that, she lost the needle when we were out in the pre-operation place.
Yeah.
And so she lost the needle in someone else's arm or something, and they're like, "We can't find the needle. Like, where'd you put it?" Like, she's like, "I don't know. I think I put it here." And so it's like this 80-year-old white lady,
That's so
and I'm
crazy.
in the next. I'm literally the next curtain over, and I'm like, I see her. She grabs me and she's like, "Are you ready to go into surgery now?" Or essentially surgery, and I'm like, that's when I started thinking about death. I started thinking about death at that moment because I was just like, what if so happens she puts the wrong amount, or she puts the wrong chemical, or and it's obviously it was just like a faint idea, but it was still an idea in my head that I had that I was like, hmm. I was like, let me just pretend. Let me try to what's the word?
Entertain the idea.
Entertain the idea. And so I did. So basically, I just remember like she's like, okay, you're gonna be out in 15 seconds, and I remember I looked around and I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like this could be my last memories. And like I looked around and I was like, these are the last things I hear. These are the last things I see. These are the last things I smell. And boom, I was and that happened. Gone. I was. It felt like nothing. It didn't even feel like there was time in between the surgery and coming out of the endoscopy.
Mm.
And that, well, first of all, that made me feel like that's what death kind of feels like. So that's why I was like, that feels like death. And I woke up or whatever, and I was like just happy to be around. But you're a little loopy at the beginning, so I was, and then eventually I looked it up, and I saw. I was like, if you have this, they're like, it kind of looks like it. You have, and then I looked it up, and it was like, okay, 22 years. So I went home, saw that, thought my whole experience, and then I even watched Green Mile, which um, I don't think you have, but if you ever watch Green Mile, it's essentially about people on death row, or this guy on death row. And so it was just such a funny thing that I was watching that day. I was like, I could have picked any movie, but I think something came up on my Instagram feed or TikTok. I had TikTok at that moment, and
Yeah.
so it popped up, and I was like, let me just watch it. I was like, I always see things about it, and it's literally about death and like seeing people like their last hours or days before is it's like I wonder what they're thinking about, like actually what they're thinking about. Because if that's what I was thinking about at that moment, and I wasn't gonna die, I can only imagine what they were thinking about. And to tie it all up, is that essentially it taught me like if I did so happen, if I saw a number to the amount of time I had in my life, I assumed it was 22 years. And I saw that number, and it's the fact that you can see something physical, the fact that you can see something written down of the exact time that you have on this earth. It made me think like, am I spending it right? Am I even enjoying what I do? Do I even wake up every day thinking like, this is the 150 or probably 1050th day of my life. I only have 565 left. Am I enjoying it today? No, but like if you actually see like your numbers going up and up and up, and every day you're getting closer to um, that number, I feel like I wanted just to have better quality life now. Like I just want to enjoy life now versus making it so difficult on me.
I think that's a message for everybody. That's an all-inclusive message right there.
That brought to you by All Inclusive.
Man, just hearing that story just reminds me of what's important. Because even though we can go through those experiences, and this I'm speaking for myself here, like sometimes I'll forget.
Yeah.
I'll get wrapped up in some bullshit. I'll like get mad about something, or I'll be mad at a person, and then I'll remember like, fuck, like I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
And that 22 years, that's generous. There are some people who are gonna die tomorrow. there are some people who are gonna die in 6 months, or who could die in a month, but don't even know it. Like from like because accidents, terrible things happen, like car accidents, plane crashes. We never know when our last day is gonna come. But what is it? I just think about this. I'm like, damn, it's crazy to me how do we not all just think this, like, remind ourselves all the time of our mortality? How do we not wake up every single morning and be like, you know what? I could die today. And it's almost cliche now to say there is no tomorrow. Like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, but I'll probably see. But the thing is, in our minds, I feel like it's like we're probably gonna see tomorrow. Chances are I'm probably gonna be around for another month, probably be around for another year. Obviously, like when you're like in your 80s, 90s, you're like, oh shit, it's coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, but it's like, I don't know. I just feel like that's why. I mean, not all of them, but I feel like that's why like grandparents are so like just like loving. They're just like they just care about love, and like they want to love you and they want to support you and they want to be there for you. Like my grandparents are like the sweetest people that I've like. There have been no one in my life who's been more supportive, and I don't know if their thoughts have been there, but I imagine the older that you get, the more that death becomes a reality. It's like when you're in like middle school or high school, you're never thinking about that shit. Like
You think about how people think.
yeah, like you're spending your time thinking about that because like the reality of death, it just seems so like, nah, I'm gonna be here till I'm fucking 70. I'm gonna be here till I'm 80. And like the way that I see it, it's like that's an illusion that we create for ourselves. And it gives us this false sense of time that we have. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna be here anyways. Like it's okay if I worry about this right now. I mean, we don't think that consciously, but I think subconsciously we think that.
No, but I mean, when I was young, getting getting pumped in, about to fall asleep or going to coma, essentially, is what they do when they put you down. Um, I wasn't thinking about my bills I had to pay. I wasn't thinking about how am I gonna get at work tomorrow. It was literally like, let me accept all of this. And I think that something what you felt too is that I felt so accepting of just whatever it came through, whether it be like the thoughts in my head or the people were saying. Like I was just like letting it be versus like worry about this, worry about that, worry about this, and then like a tiny bit of it focusing on other people or talking up to other people. It was literally just like I'm all ears, I'm all eyes, I'm all everything. Like there was nothing in that mind that was in the future or in the past. It was right there. It was just right there. And I wish we could like have more of those or more people can see it because like now like me too. I feel like I kind of forget sometimes. That's why I think we should bring up the story or bring it up sometimes. Is that because it's like now that we're talking about it, I'm like wow, like where I was just so accepting and it's not even like you're happy. It's just you're accepted. You feel like if that's what you want, go for it.
Yeah. What you just said, like, that's the answer. That's the answer to everything. Because what you just said, you're all ears, you're all eyes, you're there. And we could say that this is how I felt, but there was such a fullness of the moment. Like it's all like even right now. Like I'm right here with you. I'm right here on my phone talking to my friend, having just a fucking just talking about our thoughts in this moment right here, where my feet are, where my ass is pressed against my seat. I'm not tomorrow. I'm not. even like 30 minutes from now. I'm here. And like in just saying that, I'm like, God, like this moment is beautiful. Like there's so much to appreciate just in this moment. Cause there's a day where I'm not gonna be able to talk to Andrew anymore. There's a day where I'm not gonna be able to drive my car anymore. Where I'm gonna be able to look at a leaf. Like imagine imagine being hospitalized. God, man, imagine being hospitalized and you can't even go outside to look at a tree. And it's just like the value of that just skyrockets just
That's
because
all
it's
you.
taken away from you.
That's all. That's. I think that's all you would want at one point. It's like, let me just see a tree.
Bro,
Yeah.
that's how I felt when I was here. I just thought like, God, I just want to play one more game of pickup basketball. Just one. I just want that little 2 second, that quarter of a second feeling the moment that you that you hear the basketball go through the net. Like that tiny little thing, bro. It feels so good. Or like being having access to go out, like just driving around and seeing, God damn, like there are so many beautiful girls here, and I get to look at them. I get to admire having my eyesight, being able to perceive color, being able to see this stick and to feel this stick, and not only that, like looking at things makes me feel something on the inside. Looking at a sunset, looking at something gives me sensations. Looking at a beautiful girl gives me that like that tingling, that sensation, and it arises something within me. Being able to experience that, and even pain, man, pain. Being able to just experience and feel your pain, like to experience that and be with it. And talking about pain, I know I'm going a little bit on a tangent here, but I feel like the whole reason why pain is so bad is because we resist it instead of being present with it, accepting the pain. I would argue that that there's it's harder mentally than it is physically for with pain. Like imagine like you cut yourself and you just want you to not have a cut. But and this is gonna sound crazy, but what if you just appreciate that moment with the cut? And people don't like that. People are like, what are you talking about? Appreciating I'm bleeding. But no, like, oh shit, like I'm bleeding. Like I have a cut like on my hand. The one hand that I have. I'm bleeding. Oh my god, my like oh my god, I'm this human. I'm this human that's bleeding right now. And it's like it's an experience. Being present with that. Of course you want to get it taken care of, but it's like there's beauty in that. That's just a part of life, and it's like just being present with what is and just like soaking in the experience of what life is. And the thing is that I believe that the more that you can soak in that experience, the more that you can again making a callback. How you do one thing is how you do all things. It's like the more that you can just practice soaking it all in, the more that you can soak in those shitty moments, the more that you can be present through those shitty moments, not trying to go somewhere else. Because what you had brought up earlier, this is how I even got to this place, is that in that moment you weren't thinking of being elsewhere. Like it's like there was no thinking, you were just here. And it's like I believe that the more that you can cultivate that into your life with making it a practice of doing that with the bad things, the more beautiful and wonderful and amazing the good things are. It's like you're a sponge just soaking all of it in. You're not thinking, because I don't know about you, but even I've been like, in a good place with I can be at a restaurant with my friends, but I'm thinking about something else. Or I can be recording a podcast episode, but something else will be on my mind sometimes. Or I could be having sex and I'm thinking about something else, but I'm not like in the moment. I'm not soaking it in because my mind is always here. So moderation, less is more. And I think that for us to get back to just enjoying and soaking in every bit of life, all we got to do is just slow down. Be bored, but like take in the experience of boredom.
Yes. Not just be bored to be bored. Like not doing it because you have to do it. Because some people on a podcast say be bored. That's the right way to do it. But it's like fully soak in that boredom and fully let your mind just let it wander. Let it find the idea. Let it find your thoughts. And that's what's happened to me when I'm bored is like it'll just like slowly like creak through and you hear it in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, and then you just let it be, and then something else pops up, and then it just slowly but surely you start thinking about all these different things, and your mind starts racing, and you even reach like for a pencil, and you're like, I want to write this down. And I noticed that in the nighttime, that's when it happens to me. But there's another thing I wanted to say is that when you said about the fully being present, even in the bad times, in the painful times, I totally get that because I felt like for the past months with my job, it was back to the Squidward paradox from a couple episodes ago, and essentially I felt like I wasn't great, I wasn't bad, I was just average. Like I've never felt so just monotone, average. I guess it's melancholy, just average. There's no ups, no downs, no feeling. Like it just again back like being robotic in a way. And when all this crashed and burned recently, I felt pain, and it's funny because it's like you said, like we resist it, but I was like, wow, I haven't felt pain in a while. I haven't felt what it feels like to be hurt. I haven't felt something, and to take that, I'd rather take pain than being stable mentally. Just shows a lot about how humans are. You know, we're not meant to just be whatever. It's like we like feelings. We like to be, if you can truly be present and enjoy that part, as bad as that sounds, I think it'll just take you to way better places than if you just stay in this stable, safe environment of no, oh, I don't want to feel that. That's uncomfortable for me. Oh, that's just way too much. That's oh that no, I could never get into that. That puts me way too much on my comfort zone. But when I got to that point, I was like, I'd rather choose to feel something, rather it be good or bad, than nothing at all.
What you just said sums up something that I remind myself of often, and I do my best to remind myself of this during these times, but just the more we talk about it, and the more like it clicks. But pain and challenge is good. There's not like for me, it's like there is nothing that's more satisfying. Oh my God. There's nothing more satisfying than going through the pain, but when the pain's finished. And you can apply that to so many things. Working out. Put yourself through pain for an hour, but how do you feel after that hour? You feel fucking good. You put work in for 4 years at university. Hopefully you feel good after you get that degree. You finally got it. Or when you recover from an injury. It sucks. You're going through all that pain. But when you get out, it's just life is so much more fruitful. And it's like it's almost paradoxical that going through pain makes life better. Perfect example. Or I guess I've said enough. The Oh shit. Okay. Oh, I thought I lost you for a second. Your video went away. Oh, yeah, it's good now. You're here now. Um, yeah, man. Just to to not. I tend to explain things very very much, but I mean less is more, and pain is good, and pain creates less good, or there's less good when we experience more pain. And there's a saying too that is too much of a good thing is a bad thing. Like it feels good every time we swipe up on a new post on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. Too much of that is a bad thing, dude. Like for me, it's like I get disappointed when I look at my phone and I'm like, damn, I just spent 8 hours of my day looking at this little box, this little glowing rock that I'm holding in my hand. Like 8 hours of my day. When I'm gonna
You know
die,
how you know how big the world is compared to that little phone.
dude. And like talking to myself, it's like, get the fuck out there. Go fucking see the world. Go fucking live. Go fucking go fucking hug a tree.
Go mess up.
I was just about to say, go get rejected by a girl. Go to a girl and fucking look stupid. You know? Take that in. Even that feeling. It's like just take it all in, man. Like we're here to live. We're not here to like human beings were never meant to sit on a phone. That's not living. Like there's a reason why it feels good to go outside. There's a reason why it feels good to hang out with people. There's a
Go
reason
on a
why it
walk.
feels good to have a good conversation and to go to the gym. I mean, you can have fun. I mean, you can have fun working out by yourself. I mean, me personally, I like being outside with people, man. I like being at a gym with a lot of people in it. Like music festivals. For some people that it's too much, but like for me, it's like God, so many people here. So many like when we would have Neon Desert in El Paso. Did you ever go to one?
Yeah,
Did you like it?
I liked it. Yeah, I think yeah,
I
I
feel like
really
there's a little
excited.
I feel like there's a little something there.
I get started the class with them. especially when you're close on the crowd. In the
Yeah,
crowd.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
I get that.
I do like seeing a lot of people. Just the thought of like all these people, like they're people, they think what I think, they don't think what I think. They're out here living, but they're out here with us, and it just feels like a community kind of way.
Yeah, like that. I bet like those UT games,
Oh yeah,
bro. For me, something about professional games, or like not professional games, but like I mean, shit, fucking UT is basically a professional football team. Like those that stadium, like the stadium, like there's such like an atmosphere to stuff like that.
yes. No, it was like it kind of felt a little culty, to be honest, a little cult like. I mean, everyone wearing Longhorn, everyone like we're like praising in a a Longhorn because it's Bebo the Longhorn, and everyone's like Bebo, and like I found it funny. I was like, wow, that's insane that how many people like it's not worshiping a Longhorn, but it's like, wow, we really fuck with that Longhorn, that one guy, that one dude right there. But and then like just having everyone there, and you can hear the crowd like roaring and everyone in like unison, every like, and you can even go back a lot of small dots to make like a big, loud, energetic crowd. But each person, if you look at it, is yelling, and like that only way to make it that loud is if each person is yelling, and so everyone's responsible for making that loud crowd.
Pointillism,
Pointillism, fucking pointillism.
man, that's good shit.
Yeah,
I think this has been a really good podcast. Um,
it's a very deep one, to be honest.
I mean, I think that's just a conversation for you and me.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
there's so much more that I can pick apart with what you just said. But
agree.
right now, less is more, and I think we can definitely. It's gonna come up again some other time. Um, but for those
Less is
who
more.
you said what?
Less is more, and moderation.
For those of you who watch this, we really appreciate you guys, and um, we hope that you guys can learn from us as much as we learn from each other, and as much as we learn from life as well, because life is always, if you really pay attention to the details, you see that life is teaching you, has so much to teach you.
I don't think you ever stop learning, to be honest. And yeah, like I think this is where we're going with it is that y'all are basically on the ride with us, and as we're breaking down these thoughts, as we're really think about it live, well, not live, but essentially breaking it down together. No, no, just understanding like that. That's probably what you're thinking at the same time, and you're like, huh, and like, but I like that we're breaking it down and seeing what exactly what life has to offer. To be honest, and today's conclusion is less is more.
Before this podcast ends, I feel the need to say this: we're always changing. We're always changing, and it's like I sometimes I even feel like my opinions change even as I talk to Andrew, and that's how growth is. It's like never. I feel like it's good to always just be fluid and like how me and Andrew say, just be present and just go with the flow.
Amen.
But this has been an all-inclusive podcast with your hosts,
Your boy Isaac Garcia over there in his car.
and Andrew Martinez in his room with special guest Jeter.
Yeah. Jeter.
Jeter Martinez.
Jeter Martinez.
But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.